we're going to be doing today is calculating the value of the square root of 2. And we'll be discovering ways of calculating other values using arbitrary units. You don't need a calculator. You can use a ruler or a piece of string to calculate this. First, let's just have a line here, and you can do this with a piece of string or a ruler or something like that, that later I'll explain how to calculate it. But you have a starting point, and we'll just consider that 0 for the starting point. And you mark off any arbitrary point along that line, and we'll call that 1 unit, or 1. Now, if you had a huge long piece of string, like a football length or something like this, you could do it along the football field, and you can measure it much more accurately than we would here. Okay, now there's a formula for a triangle. It's a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And with that formula, you can calculate a lot of different things. If you take a compass and you extend this 1 unit up, so it's the same length from here to here as it is from here to here. You can do this with a piece of string. Just have a piece of string 1 unit long, and you have somebody walk up there and mark this point up here. Right now we're not exactly knowing where to stop up here. So what you do is you mark off a distance from this 1 unit this way, and the same distance this way. So like if this is distance A from here to there, and this is also A. And then you take a compass and you just make your little mark like that. And then from over here on this one, you make your little mark like that. And then you draw straight up through that. And you'll have a vertical line. This line will be perpendicular to the line down below. And this will be 1 unit long. So you've got 1 unit here, and you've got 1 unit here. Now this is A, and this is B. Okay? So A equals 1, B equals 1. So A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Okay, so this is 1 squared is 1, plus 1 squared is 1 equals C squared. So 2 is equal to C squared. Now, C is the hypotenuse of the triangle. So if you draw a line from here down to your 0 point, this one is C. But if you just want C, then it's square root of 2 is equal to C. So you have square root of 2 here. Now, that doesn't help you measure it too much because you've got it along here. But if you take your compass or your piece of string and have somebody walk it down, you just walk it down in the little arc that it follows, so that this distance is translated onto your original number line. So right here, you have the square root of 2. And you can take that, if you mark off another 1, like you did here, as you brought that up, if you continue that circle all the way over, just bring it all the way over, and this would be your 2 mark over here. Then if you fold this string from the 1 to the 2, and you fold it in half, then you can have the 1.5 mark. Or if you're using a compass, if you're doing it on a piece of paper, you can do a compass from the 2 mark, just make it long enough so that it goes up there and mark down there. And then from the other side, you would also mark and mark down there. The way you use a compass to divide a length in half, you have a perpendicular here that would give you the 1.5. Of course, that's drawing, it's not the scale, because it would be over here somewhere. But using this, if you use a football length, or say one unit was 20 yards down the side of a football field, and you went out the 20 yards and you took the square root of 2 and you brought it down here. So you from your 0 to your 2 would be 40 yards. That's a lot of string. And you can take that 1 and that 2 and you can fold it in half and get the 1 1/2. Then you take the 1 and the 1 1/2, you fold that in half and you get 1 1/4. So you can basically get, okay, you know that square root of 2 is over 1. So you have 1 plus, well, the half mark goes beyond the square root of 2. So you don't have the 1/2. We'll just put that down here to keep track of it. And when you divide that in half again, you get 1/4. Well, you would have that because the 1/4 would be over here somewhere, and that would be 1 1/4. And you keep doing that, and you can do it binarily. So you would have the units plus, okay, you got 0 for the 1/2, you have 1 for the 1/4, and then if you had the 8th and the 16th and the 32nd and 64th, etc. So you can do a binary addition. Let's just say you had a 0 here and a 1 there, and a 0 here and a 1 here. It's not going to be like that. Then you would know by figuring out the decimal points of this. And you can, if you go far enough, dividing down that piece of string, you can divide it down fairly accurately in halves each time, and determining whether you have that in your thing. So you can break it down and get maybe 5 decimal digits on the square root of 2 with a long piece of string. But another thing I wanted to show you was, you have the square root of 2. If you construct your vertical here the same way you did this one, using the little arcs and stuff, and you mark off your 1 again, then if you take this length, it's the square root of 2, and this is 1. So this one up here is square root of 2 squared, that's 2, plus 1 squared, that's 1, so 2 plus 1 is 3. So this would be square root of 3. And if you extend it down here, of course it's going to come down on the other side of the 2 here. You could calculate the square root of 3. In a like manner, you can get the square root of just about any number, as long as you can draw a line long enough and have a large enough compass to draw it down on this. And if you did this with a ruler, you would have this like marked off in halves and quarter inches or centimeters or whatever you have. It might be easier with meter stick to do it. So you'd have, say, 1 meter, and then you could measure down here for the 2nd meter and have it in decimals. You could read it directly off of, say, a 2 meter stick. And you don't have to have any real calculators. You need a compass. You need a straight edge or something like that. And you can define your own units even. You don't have to use the units that are on a yardstick or a meter stick or anything like that. The piece of string on the football field is an example of that. You set up your own units. It doesn't have to be 20 yards. Maybe you did 40 yards and 80 yards, but you may have a problem going across the football field that way.